along with the growth of large organizations, there's a guy named Max Weber. All right, Weber tried to say, well, all right, these large organizations are coming along. What are the best ways for them to form? Okay, and one, of course, is a division of labor. He also said we needed an authority hierarchy, a linkage from top to bottom. Okay, so people knew who they reported to. You knew who was responsible for what element of work. You might also know this as a chain of command. You probably can't read my writing well, but looking at it, hopefully, as you try to figure it out, that helps you remember. Okay. Also, formal selection. We don't take the first person off the street. All right, we specify the job, the requirements for the employees or potential employees, and we select the best one. We have formal rules and regulations. And, of course, we can think of rules maybe as a negative thing, but rules help us to predict and work together well. Okay? If we have rules and regulations, we can depend on people doing what they're supposed to do, at least to a degree. And even people we don't see, we can generally have an idea of how they're going to behave, and we can work with them. Impersonality. All right, impersonality. What is this? Well, people can't get special favors based on their position. Okay? Power lies in the position, not the person. If you're the president of the organization, when you go out into the community, you don't get special favors. You don't give special favors to people in government as well. All right? You just use your office for the purposes of your organizational goals, not personal. Career orientation, we try to reward seniority, and we try to get people to stay with the organization. The longer they're there, the more they know how things work, the more skilled they get at their job. So we try to award seniority. That's Max Weber. He was around the late 1800s, a German sociologist on what is the best way to structure these large organizations. All right, another sea change in our viewpoint of organizations was known as the Hawthorne Studies. Again, remember, looking at people as machines or a mechanistic view, the Hawthorne Studies tried to determine what are the most productive ways that people can do work. So in the Hawthorne Studies, they had people around a table, they were doing assembly, all right, and then off in the corner, all right, there was some other people watching and writing in their little books about what was going on. All right, and every now and then they would come and interact with the folks here on the table and talk to them. Well, one of the things they looked at was lighting and productivity. So they increased lighting, and what would you guess happened to productivity? It went up. All right, but then they started decreasing the lighting till it almost got to moonlight levels, and productivity still maintained its high level. They were confused. What's going on here? Okay? People are machines. They're supposed to operate that way. And what do you think their research conclusion was? Think for a second, okay? If you guessed maybe it was the human element or the interaction of these people with the workers, well, then you would have thought correctly. And this was a change from a more humanistic view of people, from the more mechanistic view that people had prior to that, like with Frederick Taylor. And after that, studies began to look a little more at the folks involved, or the human or interpersonal element, than they had before. All right, so here's your review. Okay, in the past, what were some of those isolated large organizations that we had? Were the exception than the rule, such as the Catholic Church, the Roman Empire, that kind of thing. Okay, who was one of the first individuals who talked about the benefits of a division of labor? Adam Smith. All right, and who was the father of scientific management? Took division of labor to the extreme. Frederick Taylor. All right, known as the father of scientific management. Max Weber, what were the elements of an ideal bureaucracy? Okay, if you said division of labor, all right, an authority hierarchy, okay, formal selection, rules and regulations, impersonality, and a career orientation. You'd be right. All right, and what were the conclusions of what were the Hawthorne studies, and what were some of the conclusions? Well, they looked at productivity, okay, and the researchers interacted or even interfered with what was going on. You might say they were obtrusive, okay, and what led to the productivity stayed the same even under adverse conditions. So this was a change in the look of management towards a more humanistic or personal approach. All right, so that's a brief history of principles of management. Join us on YouTube for more management topics as we go along here.